wasn't prepared for an incredibly hard-fought battle was sorely mistaken. And I knew it was going to be like that. I didn't exactly know which way, whether we were going to, really play lights out defensively or play lights out offensively. I knew it was going to be a battle. And, I tried to reiterate that all week to our guys. When you play a really good service academy like this, there's nothing that's going to come easy. There's nothing that's going to be taken for granted. There's nothing that's going to be free. And you just got to be willing to work. And if that means you got to work to the last tick on the clock or overtime, that's what we tried to prepare them for. But I do believe that, right now there's not much of a home field advantage, but there still is a little bit of a home field advantage, being here and being comfortable in where we're at, and to have our band and to have our ROTC and some things like that. I think that was something that really I want to thank. I think it was something that means a lot to us and gives us a little bit of pep, and we needed it today.
Okay, let's go ahead with questions.
Coach, you had success a couple of years ago against the triple option. What was the game plan this week, and how did you feel the defense performed?
I'm not sure they could have done much better, to be honest with you. I mean, in some ways, we may have, to go back and look, we may have played better than we did a couple of years ago. And Coach Freeman, those guys, the look we got all week was unbelievable. And it's really fortunate to have some of those guys that, have some knowledge of it. And just enough time that we got this game scheduled that we, in one of those weeks before, we could spend a few days at work, and because it really paid off for us, because they gave us a lot of new things, having a little bit of a week off and some new wrinkles and some passes that we hadn't seen. But they played, Coach Freeman, those guys, they played lights out. They didn't panic when they gave up some big plays. There was a second or third and 25, and the quarterback gets outside. It's just unheard of right there. And they didn't panic and found a way to make the plays. And my hat's off to them.
Coach, obviously the running game was struggling in the first half. What did you guys do to address that come halftime and get better moving forward with the game?
Well, I don't know that we did a lot to fix it. I don't know in the second half that we, came out and really significantly established the run. I think that's something we're going to have to take a good hard look at. We talk about being able to take what they are giving us, and they do a great job at mixing some coverages up, bringing the extra hat down in different spots so that you can't get a beat on where they are and what they're doing. And it's hard. It's hard. There's tough sledding in there. Big, physical, strong guys that, that will grind it out. And so I don't know that we ever got it where we felt comfortable that we could, establish the running game. I think that's something we're going to have to take a good hard look at. But that there's going to be things you're going to have to do differently based on what they give you. And we were fortunate enough to hit some of those free access throws and to make some plays.
Coach, could you figure out what in that first half was going on with Dez with kind of those downfield throws? It seemed like he was a little off to start the game. Do you know what was going on there?
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that it's completely different if we hit one of those first two, Michael Young, or, the ball gets tipped on a couple of those RPOs that just, I think, maybe get in your head a little bit. And I always kind of get to the receivers as well. And I'm sure if you ask Michael Young, he'll tell you that he's got to come down with some of those things. And their number one job sometimes is to make the quarterback look good. It means when the ball's not perfect, you got to come down with it. But that's why it's a team. That's why, if one phase is, maybe struggling a little bit, the deep balls were struggling a little bit. We found a way to hit some of the other things. And I think it's about getting into a rhythm. I don't think early on we were in that rhythm.
Luke, I'm sure you probably haven't had a chance to look at other scores or anything, but there's been several upsets so far and maybe a couple more to come. Given what the top of the AAC looks like, how viable do you think your conference is as a national contender?
Well, I didn't watch and see what happened today, but I know the makings of what this conference has. In just 3 years. I mean, there is a lot of really, really good football. I think this year is going to be unique in general to see, the teams that are nationally are normally really good. I don't know if they will be. And those teams that are usually kind of on the bubble to see what they're going to be, it's going to be really uniquely different this year because of all the stuff that we've gone through, whether it's, obviously the COVID and the social injustice stuff. I think teams you're going to see handle things very differently. And you're going to see some teams that are going to, like a service academy that I'm telling you is going to thrive in those adverse situations. And you're going to see some teams that might not be built, structurally the best way and will struggle. So I think it'll be something that we have an opportunity with our league, with our team to take advantage of. But, we're got to be the ones that doesn't.
What is it about this defense where you guys are able to force so many turnovers?
Well, I mean, we said before, we really it's an emphasis on getting to the football. I mean, we probably had a couple more out there. We had a couple more last week that we had our hands on. We're going to pride ourselves on doing that, and the ball is the issue. And, there's nothing that's greater than the football, whether you're an offensive guy handing the ball back to the official, or if you're a defensive guy trying to find a way to get to it. For us today, the only time that the ball was on the ground, we got it. And that's probably a great sign that our guys were on their feet. They were running to the football. They were swarming to the football. And good things happen when you do that. So it's nothing magical. It's not like, hey, this is the best drill in the world going to create turnovers. It's the guys are relentless. They run to the football. They have an opportunity to make a play. The ball's down there. Now they got a chance to make it.
Coach Freeman always seems to have some kind of wrinkle up his sleeve. Was that a 5-man front that he was using a lot today? Like it looked maybe a 5-5-3 or 5-3-3 or something?
Yeah, I don't know. You beat the rush. Get out of here, Chad. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
But no, it was a little bit of it was, kind of a little bit more of a bare front for us, trying to put a little bit more pressure, giving guys some different looks. We knew we had to stop the fullback. They had obviously pounded the fullback there. In my mind, maybe a little bit different than Navy. They're maybe even more ways committed to establishing the fullback more than any other triple option team I've ever seen. And we thought it was something that could at least give our guys up front a better opportunity to not just sit there and be targets, squeezing down blocks, tackling fullbacks, letting them read you. We thought it was to our advantage maybe to get them some one-on-one situations, and I think it worked pretty well.
You think that may?
What's that?
Do you think that maybe freed up Majay towards the end of the game? Because it looked like he seemed a lot fresher than their guys in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say we did a whole lot of work on some of the 2-minute drill stuff and some of our third down stuff that other guys love to do. But, when you get to those situations, you're probably in a pretty good shape. And you just got to kind of pin your ears back and maybe you didn't work on it a whole lot that week. But if you're in that situation, like I said, you're in a good situation in the football game. And that's what those guys enjoy to do. So, yeah, I think it was our ability to be fresh in the fourth quarter because we could play a lot of guys up front.
Coach, we didn't see Ben Bryant at all this week. Was that by plan, by design?
One more time, I didn't hear you.
We didn't see Ben at all this week. Was that the plan?
Well, no, I don't think that. I think the plan is to be able to have an opportunity for him to play. You did see him in one play. Not exactly the way, he wants to get his play or get his opportunity or situation. It's just, you never know in the makings of a game. And I was expecting this one to be some crazy type of hard-fought game coming down to, a last drive or a fourth quarter situation, and we were more fortunate probably defensively. You felt like you were in a good mix and in a good place that you could play a lot more guys. I don't know offensively if they did a great job of keeping us, offbeat with, coverages and spins. And so I don't know that you ever felt like you were in a great situation that, you can work and get some other guys in there. And that's a part of being a team and understand that there's some unselfishness you have to do. Maybe opportunities don't come in some situations.
Coach, when everybody talks about Army, they talk about the triple option in their offense, but that was a top 30 defense last year, and I think people don't really give them enough credit for how physical and aggressive they are defensively.
And I'd be honest with you, I didn't spend very much time looking at it. I was laying awake trying to stop dives and and arcs and crack blocks and after being there on the field and seeing the size of their guys as well, I was impressed. I was impressed with the length that they had up front, whether it was on the defensive line or even some of those stand-up linebacker positions.
You guys forced a fumble on one of the first drives in the third quarter. Can you describe the impact of that play? While you guys were struggling to get points on the board.
Yeah, I think that was one where the quarterback scrambled for maybe 25 yards on 2nd 25 or something. And notoriously last year was probably one of our biggest Achilles heels. Is that when we gave up a big play, it turned into points. I don't know if it was, we didn't do a great job as coaches at settling down and not panicking. And, at times our guys maybe, got down on themselves, whatever it was. So to see how that drive ended, with us getting a turnover strictly off of pursuit, strictly off of extra effort, is what's happiest about it. We stood a guy up on the sideline, and Michael Pitts, a senior defensive lineman, ran from the other side, hit him, knocked the ball loose. And when you got 3 or 4 or 5 guys that are piling on the pile, you got a chance to get them when the ball's on the ground. So that's a big, big turnaround for us.
Luke, you've been remaking the wide receiving core a bit this year, and you had Alec Pierce out. What are you seeing from those guys so far, that unit?
Well, I think that you're seeing a mix of a lot of guys. I think that, we're going to have to take some more shots down the field. I think guys are going to get more and more comfortable. When you've got some new, especially some grad transfer guys, they haven't had a whole lot of time to work with Dez. And I think that you'll see the maturity of what that group has. You'll see the growth throughout the entire season. This is just a scratching point for where those guys, to me, that's a group combined with the wide receiver, with the quarterbacks that I think we will all see by the end of the year an incredible growth throughout the entire season. And like I said, sometimes you think it's easy with some of those Army things. Well, those guys aren't as good athletes and things. They did a great job at mixing things up, and so it was difficult on everybody.
Coach, have you ever had a guy like Ethan Tuckey that just seems to have a knack for getting his hand on punts?
You know what? In punts out, he might have had another one. He does. He has a knack, and when he didn't get it, I think he made some guys in that back wedge pay. And there's definitely going to be, guys are going to have to know and account for where he is. That was a huge play that we didn't end up. Obviously capitalizing enough on, and I look at it first and foremost is when we do block a punt, is behind the line of scrimmage, we've got to scoop it. There's no way we're going to fall in that thing, and so I put it on us. Not that we want to put the offense in that situation. We want to score on that play.
Coach, Michael Young had more receptions today than he did in any single game at Notre Dame. How big of a part of the offense is he going to be going forward?
Well, I think he's going to continue to grow as a part of the offense. I think that, like I said, that what you see at the beginning of the year and what you see at the end of the year, I think will be light years. I just mean that because of a connection between Dez and Mike and even Jordan, and as Alec Pierce gets back and Jay Sean. I mean, there's a lot of guys in there. So even during camp, it made it difficult because you were trying to find who was going to fit what position. And I think as you get in those first couple of weeks, you really start to hone in on, what everybody's kind of roles and spots are. And I think that's when you start to see things grow. So I know it was big for us tonight, and I think it's only going to continue to grow.
Any more questions, guys?
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Players switch around here.
Michael, it seemed like you were getting open all day in the secondary. Did you feel that way?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think for the most part, but I think that was just part of the game plan. We're really big on taking what they give us as far as on defense. So we called a lot for me to be open, and we expected it to be open. So luckily, I was able to do my job today.
What does that say to you about the trust already that Coach Fickell and Coach Denbrock have in you to make you that much of a part of the game plan in a game like this?
Honestly, it means a lot. I think, like you said, you mentioned it before Coach Fickell left. This is probably the most receptions I had in a game like ever. So I think it's, I think it's amazing just how they brought me in, kind of incorporated me in the offense right away, and then just having that trust, having that confidence in me. But it's all through prep. Obviously, if I'm, at practice and I'm not doing the right things, or I'm dropping a pass, or not running the right routes, or having a lot of missed assignments, obviously that trust isn't there, so my number isn't called. So I think as far as Coach Denbrock and Dez, they just know what they're going to get from me, and I think that's what prompted today with as many targets as I had and as many receptions as I had, because we got the looks all week that we wanted, and fortunately my number was called and I was part of those looks. So
can you take us through that touchdown? What did you see, and then how did it feel to finally get that first score as a Bearcat?
So we ran 12 personnel, and we had game planned all week that whenever they get in the red zone, they like to bring both safeties down so they can, stop the run. They like to get a lot of hats in the box so they can stop the run. So we knew, me, Jashawn, Jaden, we knew that we would have the opportunity in the red zone to get those one-on-one looks. And just the way the corners, the way they play outside leverage when we're ever in a condensed split. So once I saw the safety come down, like before the play even started, and I saw the corner outside leverage, I was like, oh yeah, this is the time to do it. So luckily, and I think that we could have went either way with it, honestly. I think Jay Sean was open on the backside as well. So I'm just lucky Dez looked my way. But it feels good. It feels good to get my first Bearcats touchdown in a home stadium. I don't think at my time in Notre Dame at all, I don't think I ever had a touchdown in our stadium. All my touchdowns were away. So to get the first one and get it so soon, it's a great feeling. It's overwhelming.
Michael, it was almost a bigger day. There was a couple of those plays early on where you and Dez just missed. What happened on those plays from your point of view?
It's a lot. Just maybe, you can really look at it from both ways. I think a lot of people would say Dez overthrew me, and then I wouldn't want to put that on Dez, but maybe I could have ran my route a little bit deeper. You know what I mean? I think it's just a timing thing. I think that's all it really was. It was just a timing thing because I think it was a good ball either way. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say what both we could have done better because, it's really 50-50 on either end.
What is the next step for the offense? What do you think?
Next step for the offense, to continue to grow. Keep learning from each game. And as the season go on, obviously you can see the weapons that we have. I think we just learning about each other, trusting each other, and just keep it going, keep moving forward. I think that's the next step. And wherever that takes us, that's where it takes us. So that's all I can say for the offense. You guys will just have to tune in and see.
Michael, what went into choosing Cincinnati, and how good do you think this team can be this year?
I've always had my eye on Cincinnati. Obviously, I had the relationship with Coach Denbrock, and we hit it off when I was a recruit. So I've always kept an eye on them, even when I was at Notre Dame. And a lot of their games, they came on Thursday night, Friday night. So we're in the hotels, and I'm a football junkie. So I watch football all day. So whenever their game's on, I'm watching it. I'm tuned in. And obviously, like I said, I'm really close with Coach Denbrock. So it was always as far as like me being a football junkie and a support. So when I entered transfer portal, Cincinnati was kind of first on my radar, and a lot of other schools came along, but I just knew the opportunity that I have here. As you can see, some of it was displayed today. The opportunity that I had here, I felt like I couldn't pass it up. And two, like Cincinnati the past few years, back-to-back 11-win seasons, like this isn't no slouch of a team. Like I like to play for winning teams. I'm sorry, but like I can't lose. Like I hate losing. I am probably the worst loser ever. So coming to a program that's having a winning culture, have guys that are absolutely talented. I mean, just look at our defense. Those guys are crazy. Just in playing, feeling like I'm not really losing a step as far as what they say about Power Five or anything like that. Like, I mean, like Cincinnati is up there with the rest of them. And I feel like we showcased that. And I feel like they showcased that for the past 2 years. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer when I entered the portal. Obviously, I sifted through my options just to, give everyone a fair shot and make sure I made the right decision. But from day one, it was Cincinnati basically all the way.
Michael, it can be easy to get down after those early turnovers. What was the vibe on the sideline like for the offense?
It was uplifting. I mean, like, it's a part of the game. Like, you're never going to play this game literally perfect. There's something you can always improve on, something you can always do better. So the fact that, early turnovers was kind of part of the game. I mean, we never really got down. It was more of like I said, it was uplifting. Like everyone on the sideline, everyone on the offense side of the ball, it was just positive because we knew what we had in front of us. We knew the opportunities we were going to get, and we knew if we just made a little minor tweaks here and there, things would go our way. So we weren't too necessarily concerned with the turnovers because we always knew, like I said, we knew what we could do on offense with a few minor tweaks here and there. So we were fine.
Michael, how fun is it to play and with this defense, knowing
You lost Chad there.
Yeah.
Any other questions from Michael? All right, we'll catch you up, Chad. Sorry. Thanks, Michael.
Cool.
Leading tackler over there. Go ahead with your questions.
I can hear that.
Jarell, everyone always talks about this triple option. You guys have a little experience going against it with Navy, but how was your feel coming into this game, having a lot shorter notice than you would for a team like this previously?
We was prepared. I mean, once Fick told us that we were going to face them, we knew right away it was going to be a tough game no matter what because of triple option. We just came in, everybody said do their job and just stick to what the plan was.
you got me now, Kyle?
Gotcha.
All right. When did they introduce the idea of going 5 down linemen against this triple option, and what were your thoughts as that gives you the ability to maybe roam free a little bit more?
It was more of I say towards the end of this week, and it was nothing of a big change. We just wanted to adjust, show something different with a bare front sometimes, and just everybody do their job as we're supposed to.
What is it about this defense that you guys are able to force so many turnovers? How do you guys do it?
We're very aggressive. One thing, we always want to challenge everything. We don't want to give up no little things, no big things, no explosive plays. And to be honest with you, a lot of people have heart on this defense. Everybody's just hungry.
Jarell, how much did that 2018 prep for Navy factor in this weekend today?
It definitely played a big part. We had some guys that played against Navy a couple of years ago, and then coming in, we kind of knew exactly how it was going to go, what type of tempo it was going to be, and where we was going to have to adjust. It wasn't that we was going to come out here and sweep them just like Navy. We knew it was going to be a tough game. That was pretty much it.
What was maybe different about the way Army ran the triple option, and how long did it take you guys maybe to adjust and get a feel for their tempo and physicality?
I don't think it's a big difference between Navy and Army. More of I would say Army is a run team. They're definitely more a run team. They're more heavy on the dive. They give the same looks as Navy a little bit, and it wasn't big of a change to me.
What was the vibe on the defense when the offense turned the ball over and gave them some points early? Do you guys feel like it was going to be on you to have to help pull it out?
As a defense, we knew it was going to keep playing. Just do our job. We knew we was going to rely on offense. We knew it was going to get some momentum going. We just had to do our job, come out, play physical and fast.
Any more questions, guys?
One last one. We saw the hoop with the dunks a lot tonight. Can you just describe, what you guys like about that as a tradition you guys do?
Oh, that's a turnover bucket we used to have. It started probably, I'd say, 2 years ago. And pretty much every day of practice, sitting around the sideline. If you get a turnover, we go dunk the ball. No matter if it's a forced fumble, recovery, interception, any type of turnover, it's a plus to us.